Hey there crew, it's Mark from Mark Your Pages, and in today's video we are going to be creating 2 custom fonts that you can use in your planner or your bullet journal any time of the year. Materials for today, you're going to need your notebook and notepad or something to practice these letters on. I'm going to be using the glass dip pen and the calligraphy ink from last year's Halloween box. Of course, you can use a regular pen if you want, a fountain pen, regular ink, whatever you want to use. And if you're not feeling super confident, feel free to come in with a pencil first as you get used to the letters, and then come in with ink later on. The first lettering we're going to create is something that I like to call high-low. And the reason I like to call this high-low is because of how we're going to write out our letters. Sometimes I also call this big-little. The idea here is we're going to alternate our letters whenever we're writing something with large letters and ones that are a bit smaller. This looks especially cool when you write in all caps. So I'm just going to write out the alphabet now, and what I'm going to do is alternate each of my letters. So our A is going to be really big, and then the B next to it is going to be about half the size and right about in the center. What I love most about this font, it has nothing to do with the look of your letter, saying that only A's need to be large and only P's need to be small. Depending on the word that you're writing, I like to just start with a large letter first. So if I'm writing out the word task, I'm going to do a large T with a small A. Or if I'm writing out the word notes, it's just all about alternating the size, which gives it a really cool and interesting look. The next font that we're going to create is one that I like to call double line. This one takes just a little bit of extra thought as you're writing it, but it's actually not super difficult to do once you get the hang of it. What we're going to do is we're going to draw our letter, which is going to be the letter A. But what we're going to do as we're drawing this is we're just going to add an extra line to it. If you want, you can also just start with your double line, like for the letter B. But then when you get to letters like the letter C, it gets a little bit more difficult because you're like, well, wait, it only has one line. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to draw a straight line through it. And we're going to go past this letter. So this actually has like a little bit of like a spooky feel to it, if I'm being honest. And it's one that I like to really pull out during like the holiday Halloween season, if you know what I mean. So all of the straight line letters are super easy to do. You're just drawing 2 straight lines down and then you're drawing out your E or your F. The G we handle very similar to our C. The J needs a little bit of extra thought because you're just going to draw your regular J and then draw a straight line down from there. For the Q, instead of drawing that line through the circle like we did for the O, we can do a double line for this bottom part of the Q. The S can be a little bit difficult, but what we're going to do is we're just going to draw S and a straight line through it, almost like half of a dollar sign. Depending how you draw your Ys, you can draw a single line and then 2 lines on the other side. Or if you draw a Y like this, you can just draw 2 straight lines down like that. And for the Z, we're going to draw ourselves a double diagonal line for our Z. This font does take a little bit extra time to think about when you're writing out words because you do have to just remember where that double line space comes from. Now for both of these fonts, I have a freebie for you that has all of the letters that you can practice doing these before you bring it inside of your journal. So make sure you check that out at the blog over on archandolive.com. So let's go ahead and write out a few words. We'll do similar ones to what we did over here. So let's go ahead and take these fonts now and put them into practice, and let's create a weekly overview inside of our bullet journal utilizing our high-low font as well as our double line font for some fun. So I've gone ahead and laid out my weekly overview that I'm going to be using inside of my bullet journal. We'll have our section down here for each of the days of the week. We'll have a whole section over here for tasks. All of this will be for notes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put a really nice big month, and then I'm gonna put a really big month header over here on the left-hand side since we have this space. I'm always saying that I want to use acrylographs more, so a great time to do that. I'm using Spellbind colors, these from a few years ago, but we're going to be using these acrylographs to create those font headers that we just created in those new fonts on the other page. So let's go ahead and pick out some fun colors. Let's give them a good shake and let's have some fun. We're going to start off with the high-low font for our days of the week. As a reminder, that's creating a large letter first and then a slightly smaller letter right next to it in the center, and alternating with large and small as we go across the page. We're going to go ahead and do our double line over here for our month header, and let's just do this for October. I'm going to go over my lines once more just to make them a little bit thicker. Remember, the look of this, the aesthetic is a little bit spooky and creepy, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, a little bit of those offset letters or squiggly lines might actually make your font look even cooler. We'll go ahead and put in our header over here for the notes section, and we're going to do this in the high-low font again, just to split it up a little bit. And then over here for our task header, we're going to do the double lines. So using the two different fonts that we created, we've used them to make a wonderful looking weekly overview with some fun looking font headers. Nothing too artistic or pristine. These are supposed to be open and fun. And I think that we accomplished that. And my goal is to make everyone feel that they can use these different fun fonts and not feel like you have to be a master artist to do so. So I hope that you found today's video helpful. As I mentioned, I have a printable for you that you can use to practice these letters on. As I mentioned before, I do have a free printable for you that shows you these two different fonts, as well as giving you a practice sheet to try them out for yourself. But once you get it down, make sure to bring them into your journal and make sure to tag both myself, Mark Your Pages, and Archer and Olive, and show us the amazing, cool creations that you're making.